All right, we're at day 22. Streaming with different angles. This is really close. I don't think I've ever been this close to the camera. Um, Day 22. It's during the daytime for once. Look at us. We're actually filming. When we said we're going to be filming, holding myself accountable to that. Day 22 means there's only 3 days until Christmas. 3 days until my birthday. Are we excited? Who knows? But yeah, I think there's a lot of reflection on what 33 has been like. 33. If I had to sum 33 up into something interesting for sure, I think I learned a lot. I think I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about maturing, about uh, being vocal about what I want, um, and not being such a people pleaser in my relationships. And I had to learn that lesson kind of hard and to the detriment of other people at times. But also, you have to like be honest with yourself. And if I wasn't honest with myself, then I wasn't being honest with the people around me. And that was like a big deal for this year. Was 33 was being honest. Like I got out of a relationship that I was I was just not being my full potential, and they weren't being their full potential. And I think that was just something that we both had to grow on. And I see them succeeding in things that they are doing, and I'm so stoked for them. Um, and I see where I'm improving, and I'm stoked for myself. And I think that's a big thing for 2025 for sure. Because like having your birthday near the end of the year, you have to reflect on the past year and just in general. Like, I mean, after my birthday, it'll be like a week before the new year. Um, so I get to reflect on both the year of Gary's 33rd year around the sun or whatever you want to call it, and then also like the year 2025. It's been an interesting year, man. Um, like I said, got out of a relationship, ended up in another relationship that was kind of out of nowhere. It was interesting to see that change up. Um, and I got to witness what a lot of people would think and what would say, and some people's pettiness, um, some people just being themselves, and like me not being surprised by people who have already shown me their cards. I think that was a big thing for me. It was like they're like, "Oh, are you so surprised by this and that?" I'm like, honestly, man, like part of me wants to say I'm surprised, but the other part of me wants to say like, no, this is totally within their character, totally within um, that person's mo. I should have not suspected anything different. Um, and I think a big thing has been um, not lying to myself and not letting myself give some people benefit of the doubt. I think a lot of my life has been giving the benefit of the doubt, and that bit me in the ass a lot. And you'd think you would learn, but you don't learn. And I think now I'm at the age where I'm like, oh, I learned. I should be learning. I've learned. Um, so yeah, I've learned. Um, I finally. Sometimes you just gotta dig that fucking lesson deep into your psyche, and finally you'll learn. Eventually, yeah, something happens, something clicks. Um, yeah, it's learning lessons. Telling myself like I'm not gonna dilute who I am. Um, Also, like I'm not. If I find myself in a situation where I'm uncomfortable, I have to be honest with myself and tell myself where I am. How am I uncomfortable in the situation? What do I do to change the situation? And what do I do to prevent this in the future? And 30, my 30s are big growth. I think because you fuck up a lot in your 20s. And you're supposed to. I think a lot of people act like they're so sure about themselves in their 20s, and it's funny because like I knew some people growing up who I always like looked up to their confidence throughout our 20s, and looked up to like dude, they've got it figured out, they've got it going on, like they're the one to listen to. The mic check because it died on me yesterday, near the end of the last vlog. um, but yeah, like we'll get better eventually, but like I was so sure about them in our 20s, and I'm like, do they have it down? And then one day you have that random conversation, and they kind of open up a little bit, and like, dude, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And you're like, oh, it looked like you knew what you were doing. I looked up to you, of people in our 20s, like in that same age group. I'm like, they've got it figured out, they're doing this. I should model myself a little bit better after that. And then you find out that these guys were fuck all lost. And you're like, oh, never mind. We were all lost. And we're all just trying to cling to something, that figure out like that little bit of safety, or that little bit that we think is there. I don't know how to eloquently put that, but we all like look for that part, that person that we can look up to. And it's funny because like now midway into my 30s, I'm looking at people. I've got the chance to talk to people who are in their 40s and their 50s and even in their 60s, and kind of getting the rundown of, oh yeah, none of us know what the fuck is going on, but also enjoy life. Like, you 30s are gonna be are have been interesting. They have been, and I'm grateful to a lot of people in my 30s so far. I'm grateful to a lot of people who were in that transition of my 20s to my 30s. Uh, yeah, it's been. I hate to say the word interesting, but like that's a good word for it. That's an yeah, interesting. I want to be a little more eloquent and like think of like a grandiose more grandiose word, or a less bleh word than interesting, because I feel like the word interesting is very uninteresting. But yeah, there's that train coming. See, this is what happens when we film during the day here. Who would have known that I was going to run into train sounds next to a fucking train station? And this is where I wanted to film. And this is where I take my morning walks and whatnot. You know, that probably wasn't great either. Um, who knew? Um, but yeah, you know what? We're just going to sum it up before this train ruins everything. My 30s have been interesting. On to new things, on to 34. I think that's a big growth year. I think we're going to make a lot of strides. That's the goal. Strides. That's the word for 34. Word for 2026. Strides. We're going to make it happen. Move forward.